What's behind the first seal of Revelation 6? God told Daniel in chapter 12 of Daniel's prophecies that his visions would be closed and sealed until the time of the end. Perhaps God was indicating that his visions would be unsealed at the time of the end. Since now seems to be the time of the end, perhaps these seals are important warnings for us about the times. In the Bible, often referred to as the Word of God, we find that God indicates that He has told us everything that will happen ahead of time, and that He does nothing without revealing His plans to His servants, the prophets. And of course, in the Bible, the prophets have written, and they have written a great deal about the time of the end, just before the return of Christ and the coming great and dreadful day of the Lord. What's behind the first seal of Revelation? The first four seals of Revelation identify world events that will take place during the time of the end, which should last somewhere between 30 and 40 years, the last 30 and 40 years of this age. The seals correspond to colored horses. God assigned the horses as recorded in Zechariah chapter 6. The seals are perhaps some of the most important signs that we have of our times. When the first seal of Revelation is opened, a white horse comes out, and its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror, bent on conquest. In Zechariah chapter 6, we're told about four colored horses, red, black, white, dappled, and these are four spirits going out from the Lord of the whole earth. The black go to the north, the white to the west, the dappled to the south, and the red to the east. The first seal is a white horse, and we're going to see more about this and what is behind the first seal of Revelation. So when the first seal of Revelation is opened, a white horse comes out, and we're told something about its rider. But the white horses, as we find in Zechariah, were assigned to the west. So we look to the west of Israel, because all prophecies are from the perspective of Israel. And what this map seems to indicate, the west would be the U.S. So if we look at Revelation 6 about the rider on the white horse, the rider is a western leader. He held a bow, which could indicate he's the commander-in-chief in charge of armed forces. He's given a crown. You could say he maybe won an election. And he went out as a conqueror. And you could say perhaps this is conquering the Taliban or conquering Iraq. And he's also determined to win the war on terror. This would seem to be a pretty good fit. So we know Bible prophecy is history written in advance. God is very precise in his prophecies, and he is never missed. So if we look at history and look at seal number 1, or the first seal, we might say that this is behind the first seal of Revelation. Something instigates the first seal to be opened and the rider on the white horse to go out conquering, determined to conquer. So if the white horse goes to the west and the leader, a leader from the west, rides out as a conqueror, conquering and determined to conquer, and this might be the West war on terror, then we must ask ourselves, well then, what would be in the second seal? And has the second seal been opened yet? And what would be behind the second seal, because the second seal would be next. As we briefly examined what's behind the first seal, from my perspective, we must understand that I have man's perspective. It's one of many interpretations. It's probably one of the newest interpretations, and it seems to apply to current history, and we certainly may be in the time of the end. But clearly, the Bible tells us that we must seek the truth from the Word of God and seek God and not follow man.